Good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, the 28th of February 2026, and it is the 221st session of Mindfulness for Beginners in English conducted by Nisarnwane. I would like to welcome Venerable Homagam Dhammakusala Thero for this session, all the way from Nisarnwane. And we would also like to welcome everyone who is joining in the session live via Zoom and also a YouTube live streaming session. And those who are going to download this and watch later as well. Our program will commence usually with the in-session practice of mindfulness. Venerable Bhante will give us instructions and guidance on how to do that. And then we will move on to the talk on today's topic, which is unlearning. It is a continuation of last week's topic as well. And finally, we'll be moving on to Q&A and the reports from our listeners, and guidance will be given by Dhammakusala Thero. So, to begin this session, I would now like to invite Umagama Dhammakusala Thero for an answer.
Thanks, Tarindu. Hello, everyone. So we have probably like 15-20 minutes to do an activity. And today we have a simple activity that goes with the selected topic. So you have to gather a piece of paper and a pen for this one. And once you are ready, if you can show the Zoom hand, then we can get started. Feel free to turn on video and join activity. You need a pen and a piece of paper. Tarindu seems to be ready as well. You can't. Anyone else who needs more time? Yes, so we will get started. And feel free to turn on video and join for the activity. And our selected topic, continuation from last week, it's all about unlearning. Usually when we live, we learn a lot. School, time, even our daily matters, occupation, all those things, we repetitively learn, we repetitively program ourselves. And that programming keeps running whether we like it or not. So this particular topic, it's all about unlearning. You become like a beginner. You become like a child. You unlearn all the circuits, all the programming that you have created, right? It's not easy, but that's the whole idea about the practice, right? Okay, for this one, we'll do a simple activity that shows this programming that's within us. You can take the piece of paper and you can create two columns separating the page to two columns. I don't know whether you can see it. Yes, two columns. The blur.
Yes, yes. See clearly.
Shani, you have anything to add or just shows that you are ready, is it? Yes, right. So, yes, now let's draw something on the left side. A simple straight line, let's say like this. Let me remove the background. Yes, this side, yes. A straight line, a small line. Right? So usually when we write, we use the prominent hand, the dominant hand. Now you have to use the other hand and draw the exact same thing on the right side. It's going to be tricky. Even my... See the difference? Yes. Then a triangle, once again with the dominant hand. Now, with the less dominant hand, you have to copy the exact same thing on the right side. Anilu, how about your progress? Okay, yes. Now, a number on the left side, whatever the number that you like.
Can I write number one?
Let's go for something like 5.
Fine. Okay, sorry.
5.
Okay.
Then a letter. Probably we'll say R. shows the image.
Sorry.
Oh, yes. Right. So we are up to R. Then let's draw that Zen symbol, yin yang symbol.
The circle and
Yes. The two fishes following each other. Karindu, do you know? You have to share it screen.
yeah, I'm fine, fine. One minute, China. I've got the most slowest connection in the world. It's loading. Okay.
You have it?
Um, can you see it, Simon? I'm sharing the screen.
Yes. You're coming.
I think this is the one you wanted, Simon.
Yes. That's the one. Yeah. Not easy to draw that even with the prominent hand.
Let's try.
But two sizes, yes.
Came bit okay.
Yes. Now a sentence. My brain's wiring.
That's the sentence you want to write, Simon.
Yeah. Tarindu.
I did it. I don't know whether you can see.
Seems like you have trained yourself.
Yes, I mean,
Sure.
I in fact wrote more clearer letters from my not so dominant hand. So
Yes, finally, a smiley face.
yeah.
Yes, so you get the idea. I have completed and shown mine. We'll see Tarindu's. And if anyone else would like to share, feel free. And any thoughts, comments on the activity, you are welcome to share. You can simply see how the prominent dominant hand continues without much effort and how the other hand will struggle. Right, so the programming is not there in the less dominant hand.
So in answer, we had bit of training with Mehan in answer last week as well. I think that was secret. We drew something.
The activity.
Yes,
Similar one?
something similar if I'm not mistaken.
I had no idea.
No, like no, we drew something else. Not like this. Like we didn't separate the paper and did it.
But we get the idea. It's all about programming. Usually, when we do things, we are not thinking, we are not controlling our muscles. Instead, it just happens. We can simply say muscle memory or the brain's programming is at work. The muscles, the programming at work. So that's how we function. If any thoughts are there, we'll take a moment. Otherwise, we can move forward.
Well, I'd like to start Swaminathan because I'm left-handed, so when I was using my right hand, I was more concerned and so focused on getting it right. But on my dominant hand, it was like more free. Like I was writing, I was drawing very freely and easily. But then I had to put some attention and focus on to the right hand. But eventually, it turned out fine.
Yes.
But Sarah sir,
Yes.
it's
Sorry.
Lishani. Sarah sir, I also noticed a difference in my thinking. Like when I was doing the right hand, which is my dominant hand, I actually enjoyed drawing it, and then on my left hand, I had a small dislike towards drawing and writing. Like I noticed oh, I don't want to do. I'm not enjoying this sort of feeling.
Yes, it feels like, you forceful, trying to something
Yeah.
that you're used to or comfortable.
Mm.
That comfort is all about the current programming. If you continue to do this, then I'm sure one day you'll be more comfortable writing with your less dominant hand instead of the dominant one. Right? So this is how it works. I was more concerned about, sharing this after the drawing. So I had to be careful. At least it's up to certain level.
So I also did something else. I just wanted to add that. So when I was writing from using my left hand, then I remembered like I had some thoughts. Like you asked me, we were talking about sharing the poster, and all these thoughts came. But when I was using my right hand, I was so focused on writing, I wasn't thinking about anything else. But then my brain started to think, can you be free, like when you're writing from your left hand? So then I I did everything fine until the last like smiley face. The smiley face, I tried to do it freely, and I didn't got that right properly, because all of a sudden I lost my attention, and that had an impact on the drawing.
Yes, so you can see how the less dominant hand demands attention. Yes, other one, it just happens, default. In neuroscience, they say default mode network. It just happens. You are not engaged. That programming works. And your mind wanders about something else while doing this. But the less dominant hand, you need that attention. You have to make each and every movement conscious. I remember I did, I think during my A-level times, I did this touch typing course, which was like online course, DIY, do it yourself, right? So for that, there are certain like keys where you have to place the index finger, and accordingly the other fingers will be placed onto the left side and the right side, right? So this touch typing, it requires each and every finger to move independently, because you are typing without looking at the keyboard. So it's all about programming. You have to program each and every finger in order to move independently. When you think about that word, it just happens. For example, less dominant hand, the pinky, my left hand, the pinky, will be placed on letter A, and it will have to go up for the Q, and it will have to come down for the Z. Right? So that way, the programming, it gives like certain lines for you to program the pinky. It says A space A Q, Q A Z. That way it goes, right? So when you do this, you are programming each and every finger. It just goes into your memory, muscle memory, and it just happens. You can't look at the keyboard. You are simply watching the screen and typing, right? So those things are really about how to, program yourself. Yes, I think Samantha wanted to add some.
And we have someone shared their work as well. I'm sharing that now for everyone to see. Yes.
Okay. That one seems to be quite successful. Left-handed, right? Left-handed. Is it?
Didn't give much information.
No, you can see from the letters, right?
Oh, 1 second, Samantha, now you can unmute. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Tarindu. Bante, I just wanted to add, I'm left-handed like Tarindu, but when I was writing on from my left hand, I wasn't really focusing properly. I was just very comfortable. I was just writing the 5 and the R and everything. I was quite just without really paying much attention, just comfortably writing. But then I noticed when I was doing it for my right hand, I was slow and more focused. And I must say, my mind was peaceful. I mean, not really peaceful, but my mind, yeah, it was because I was focused. It wasn't sort of like it was a bit more calmer, and I felt good. That's what I noticed, Bante.
Thanks for adding that. You can see how it demands attention. You are focused on this simple activity. And even your day-to-day activities like, brushing your teeth, you can try it with the less dominant hand and see how it requires attention. And you have to move the brush each and every moment. You have to do it consciously, right? So those things are good techniques to practice mindfulness as well as to calm yourself.
Thank you. That's a good idea.
Yes, I think that's it. And let's go forward into the next part, Karin.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much again, Kavina, also for that wonderful activity. And next is the Dhamma talk based on the topic for this week, which is unlearning. So I would like to invite once again Venerable Dhammakusala Thero for the Dhamma talk. Join us.
Yes, so this is a continuation, and let's take some time to add certain thoughts on the topic that we are discussing. And it is based on a quote from Picasso, and it says, "It took me 4 years to paint like Raphael, but a lifetime to paint like a child." So Raphael was more like the ideal benchmark that he was following. And he says that within 4 years, he could paint like Raphael. But it might take a lifetime to paint like a child, right? You know how the children draw. They don't have any preconceptions. They don't have any ideas. They simply allow it to flow. When you go to the homes of small children, you can see these drawings on the walls, right? All the walls are painted with chalk or some other coloring. Drawings are there. For adults, they think that they shouldn't be painting on the walls, drawing on the walls. Even the parents, they try to, ban them, but eventually they end up giving up, right? So even that approach, we don't think that we should be drawing on our walls, but the child doesn't care, right? They simply let the drawings flow, right? So the basic idea is simply they don't have any preconceptions. They don't have any ideas, views. They simply allow things to flow. And that is more like, nature's drawing. And although we don't appreciate it that much, that very drawings are very insightful. That very drawings represent the present state of mind, not the learned version, not the past, future states, instead the present state. And when you observe drawings of a child, you can clearly see how the child is drawing more like the current state of mind. I've seen some research where they have analyzed children's drawings, and if the child is in a bad mood, if the child is going through abuse, the drawings tend to be with the darker colors, abstract figures, and things like that. Their minds are darker, so they draw accordingly. And some of the children, if they are in a calm, happy state, they draw many colorful things, nature, birds, sun, all those things are there. Right? So the simple idea is all about being like a beginner, unlearning. You don't have any preconceptions. You simply allow the pen or the pencil to flow. Right? That state of mind is closer to the Tao. That state of mind is closer to being present. That's the whole idea. We adults, we go with many preconceptions. Even in today's activity, we were so anxious, trying to do or trying to copy exactly the same figure. We tried to use the less dominant hand to copy the dominant drawings, the drawings from the dominant hand. You can clearly see how anxious you get in the process, right? So the whole idea behind this topic is simply unlearning. Whatever you have learned in your life, you have to let go of them and simply be Tao, simply be Zen, simply live in the moment. That's the very idea. And the children's drawings, they represent that. Adults, they struggle with drawings. They struggle with, expressing themselves because they have so many preconceptions. Their minds are occupied in certain ideas, views. So the whole mindfulness practice is about simply being like a child. Not childish, I would say, more like, childlike nature. Childish, it has a negative kind of a meaning, but childlike nature, that is important. That allows us to be free and peaceful in our mind. We all had that nature. We all had that childlike nature when we were younger. But what happened was simply we became all the various responsibilities, views, ideas came to us, and as a result, we forgot that original nature, the childlike nature. We start complaining about all those views, ideas, memories, problems, things like that. Right? So a newcomer to the mindfulness practice, they always come with various views, preconceptions, ideas, memories. That's how they come. Even a person who is totally new to the meditation practice, even them, they have a certain idea about meditation. They have a certain preconception about meditation. They haven't done it. They haven't practiced, but from the society, just by living, they know that meditation would be something like this. But they are completely wrong. That's why many learned people, if they have gone through many textbooks which talks about meditation, then they struggle very much. When they start practicing, they struggle a lot because they have so many preconceptions. But a new young person, a person from a different religious background, they can easily grasp it because they don't have any learned information. They don't have any views, ideas about meditation. Right? Even today, there was this Dutch lady. She came here through some internet research and she's residential in the front office facility and wanted some guidance. So I went and just talked to her for a while and I asked, okay, you simply sit, close your eyes and simply feel the body. What do you feel? So this person hasn't done any meditation before, from a different religious background. But after sitting for like a couple of minutes, she was saying I could feel my breathing in the chest, in the belly. That's it. Right? You don't have any other guidance. You don't need any more details. You simply sit like a child, simply embrace the present moment. And when you do that, you start to feel how the body is breathing. You select some space, you allow the body to walk naturally. And if you simply be present with that walking, you can feel how the steps are moving and how the feet is felt. Right? So that's the very idea about meditation. That's all you have to do. Many people, many Buddhists, many learned people, they think that meditation is really complicated. You have to do many things. You have to have certain labeling techniques. You have to do this first. You have to do that second. Right? All those preconceptions are there. Views are there. And that very preconceptions, views become the main hindrance to the meditation. Right? So you simply sit, embrace the present moment, feel your body, and that's your stepping stone. And if you do that, if you repetitively approach that, the practice will continue by itself. You don't have to do much, you know what to do. You simply repeat it time after time. And the practice simply evolves by itself. All those things that you learn from the books, they are there in the experience. But you can't figure out because they don't come with signboards. Many people, they think that they will pass a certain junction with a signboard saying, welcome to this. Right? That's how they think. That's how they feel after reading the books. It doesn't come like that. Right? I remember one person, that person was talking about their sitting experience and was telling, Bante, in my sitting experience, after a few minutes, I could feel a real heaviness in my body. It started in a corner of the body. It started small, then it grew and became much heavier and it covered most of my body. And after evolving for some time, gradually it disappears and I feel very light. This lightness was boring. This lightness was drowsy. So I started labeling or remembering the four elements. I started reciting in my mind about the 4 elements, labeling the 4 elements. Right? That was that person's meditation experience. Right? So it feels like you are bored, you have to do something. Okay, I'll label the 4 elements. That's how they approach. But in reality, the 4 elements, they have already come and gone. But this person doesn't know that very experience was the 4 elements. In your body, you feel the heaviness, you see how it evolves in your body. And that is the very earth element that you're experiencing. Right? It has come and gone already. But this person was ignorant. And now that person wanted to label the 4 elements. Right? So you can see how the meditation evolves naturally. If you trust the process, then you can simply mature. You can simply allow the meditation to continue. If you don't trust the process, if you doubt it, then that becomes your hindrance. Right? So just know the simple approach and do many hours of practice. And when you do that, the practice will evolve by itself. That's the correct approach. Right? It's easier for you to go into that childlike nature. It's easier for you to let go of all the preconceptions, views, memories, ideas. You are simply living in the moment. That's the whole practice. Right? When you do your meditation, when you do your walking, sitting, see how many memories, how many learned things, how many preconceptions come to your mind. They come repetitively and they say, this is how you should be doing the meditation. This is how you should be experiencing in meditation. These things shouldn't be there in meditation. That way, all these learned things, preconceptions, views come. And they ruin our meditation time after time. Right? So that's why it says, it takes a lifetime to paint like a child. It takes a lifetime to enjoy the moment like a child. It's not easy. Right? The older you are, more difficult it would be. Because when you get older, you have many learned things. You have many preconceptions, views, and you have forgotten that childlike nature that was within you. Right? I saw this video on YouTube, and in that video, the person was asking a simple question. In a way, it's not that much of a simple question. But anyway, he was asking, what's your biggest regret in life? That was the question. And he asked from 100 people, starting from age 1 to age 100. Right? So he is asking a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Right? So that way, 100 people, the same question. And it's quite insightful to see how their answers vary. The first 1-year-old, the first one, you give them a mic and ask this question. The child got hold onto the mic and trying to eat it. Right? No idea about the question, simply holding onto the mic and trying to eat it. That's the answer from the 1-year-old. Then 2-year-old getting scared because of the stranger. Then the 3-year-old probably giving a side eye. Right? So that way, little by little, years go. And now the real regret starts coming. You can see when they grow older how the regrets are appearing. Some people, they are regretting about, not getting enough marks. Some people, they are regretting about not getting into a certain field of study. Some people, they are regretting about a partner. Some people, they are regretting about their job. Some people, they are regretting about money. Some people, they are regretting about certain incidents happen in their life. So older the person, more regrets they have, right? And many of the older people, they were worried about things that they missed out when they were younger. I wish I could have done a different field of study. I wished I could have selected a different profession. I wish I could have selected that particular partner instead of this one. I wished I exercised more. I wished I controlled my food and stayed healthy, right? So all those regrets are there, right? And gradually the age goes by, and finally 100-year-old woman, a grandma in a wheelchair, she is probably paralyzed due to certain episode that she had. And the person goes and asks the question, what's your biggest regret in life? And the lady got hold onto the microphone and was trying to, eat it probably. Right? So the same answer from the 1-year-old and the 100-year-old. You can see how it goes, right? 1-year-old, the sensory maturation is not there. So they don't have all these thoughts, they don't have all these problems, issues about the world. Sensory maturation is not there. Then the 100-year-old is simply experiencing sensory atrophy. So their sensors are not working properly. Right? So when they are younger, they don't have many problems. When they are near to their death, they don't have many problems. But both of these things, they are not due to the peace of mind. Instead, due to a problem in the senses. Right? The 1-year-old, simply the sensory maturation is not properly done. So they don't experience the world properly. And that's why they feel more like peaceful. But it's not the real peace in the mind. Then the 100-year-old, the sensory atrophy, due to that, the sensors are not working. They can't even hear properly. They can't see properly. So it feels like they're peaceful. But it's not due to the real peace. Right? So you have to understand the sensors should be there. The sensor should work fine. And while these sensors are working fine, you have to figure out, or you have to find the peace within. Otherwise, when the senses are not working properly, it feels like peaceful, but that's not the real peace, right? But most of the people who are in the Middle Ages, most of the people who have the clarity of senses, they are always complaining about various issues, right? Because they can hear the world properly, they can see the world properly, and that's where the practice should come. The practice doesn't work when you are younger, because you can't simply understand it, you can't simply execute it, right? Even there's this teaching from Buddha. Buddha says that these children, infants, it feels like they are peaceful. It feels like they don't have a self. They don't have a self view. They don't even know their body. So how can they have a self view? But Buddha goes on to say that they have the underlying tendencies of a self or a self view. So when the sensory maturation happens, naturally that underlying self view will arise. Then the older people, their sensory atrophy, due to the sensory atrophy, their senses are not working properly, but in their mind, they are full of defilements. Right? So that's how it works. So if you are finding peace, you have to find it in the Middle Ages, when the clarity of the senses are there. That's where you have to find peace. Otherwise, the children, infants, they appear to be peaceful. The really old people, they appear to be peaceful. But that's not the real peace. Right? So while the senses are working, while you have the clarity of the senses, you have to put your practice into work and find the real peace. That's how it should happen. Otherwise, you are probably are too early, or you probably are too late. Right? So in this middle window, you have to put this practice into use. You have to develop the ability to be present. You have to develop the ability to let go of all these views, preconceptions, memories. And you are simply living in the moment. Like a frog in a lotus pond. The frog is simply enjoying the moment. Right? So that very idea is important. Remember, if you are practicing, you have to use that middle window, the gap. It opens up at a certain age and it closes at a certain age. So if you are finding real peace, you have to use this clarity of senses in order to find it. Otherwise, you simply think that you can't see properly, you will be peaceful. That's not the case. Right? I remember one time we went to a program and there was this blind lady with like 3 children. And she was not blind from birth. Instead, about 10 years ago, due to some injection or something, she went blind. Right? So after that, those last 10 years, it was a quite difficult time for that person because you are not used to. Your other senses are not used to function, right? So that's why even they say apple of your eye, right? Apple of my eye. that much importance is given to the sight. So this lady, somebody was saying that, probably it's easier for you to practice when you don't see things, right? But that's not the case. That's not how it works. Although the eyes can't see, the mind is showing non-stop movies. All the sights that person has seen, the mind is still at work. The mind is showing movies, right? So it's not about, destroying your senses, or it's not about, blinding your eyes. That won't bring you any peace. That's not how it works. Instead, you have to implement the practice while the clarity of senses are there. And through the practice only, you can find the real peace. That's the whole idea. You have to do this unlearning process. You have to do it when the senses are working. When the senses are not working, you can't do it. You don't get that opportunity, right? So the whole idea is simply do this unlearning, execute this unlearning when the senses are working. And if you do that, then it'll be there for life. Even when the sensory atrophy happens, you'll be at peace because you have done it earlier, right? That's how it works. You have done your job. You have found a certain level of peace within, and that peace will be there. Even at your deathbed, that very peace, that very practice will come and protect you. I remember one person had an accident and was in excruciating pain for a while. And after recovery, this person came to a program and asked, Bante, nothing worked. I tried to do various recitations. I tried to follow those Bojjhanga discourses, but nothing worked. So this person is asking why, right? You have to understand when you are in excruciating pain, when your body is sick, can you intentionally practice? It's so difficult. Imagine a moment that you're suffering with fever, right? You lose the control of your mind and it just goes into whatever the things that comes naturally. All the suppressed thoughts, memories start to appear, and they keep repeating in a non-stop loop, never-ending loop. They keep repeating. Even I remember when I was a child, whenever I get this feverish, whenever I am feverish, I remember one incident. It keeps repeating in my head. And that is my indication that I am suffering with a fever. Because this thought, this incident starts repeating. Right? So you can't control it. You feel like stopping it. You feel like, give me some peace. But it's not how it works. Right? So when you are feverish, when you are in excruciating pain, probably even when you are on your deathbed, you might lose the control of your mind. The mind flows naturally to whatever the objects, memories, thought processes, right? So you have to do it beforehand, This unlearning process is all about your past memories, your past trauma. It's all about those things. So if you do the real unlearning, if you do the real practice, You are unlearning from these memories, these psychological wounds. You have to heal them. You have to let the memories unfold and let them go. That would be your meditation. That's why we don't like or we don't encourage that much suppressing in your meditation practice. We simply let the thoughts come, let the memories come while being aware of our breathing or walking. It is not so comfortable because all the unpleasant thoughts, memories, fears, they start to appear. But that's the whole healing process. That's the whole unlearning process. Right? So you have to do it before the death comes. You have to develop the practice up to a level with no maintenance. That's the key. Usually a beginner, they have a lot of maintenance in the practice. They are even controlling their body breathing. They are controlling the walking speed. All those things are there. Even they are controlling the direction of their attention. That's true. That's the guidance. But when you mature in the meditation, you let go of all the control. You simply be mindful, simply be aware, and let the mind loose. That level of practice, it's not easy for many people because as soon as you let the mind loose, it will go to the most unpleasant memories, most fears that you have avoided your whole life. Various thoughts, intrusive thoughts, ideas might come to the surface. Right? So it's not easy to do that. But if you want your meditation to work at your deathbed, you have to develop the practice up to a level of no maintenance. There's no real doing in your meditation. Whatever happens, you are already in a meditation. You have no real maintenance of the practice. Right? You have developed the practice up to a level with no maintenance. And that will come and protect you during those difficult moments. It's like, you practice Dhamma and eventually the Dhamma will come and protect you. The practice will come and protect you. That's how it works, right? So all of us, we have this small window of sensory clarity. And during this window, you have to develop the practice and reach a certain level of practice. And if you do that, then it doesn't matter what comes. It doesn't matter whether the excruciating pain or death appears. You are protected by the practice. Right? So that's the very idea. I hope today's talk was useful.
Thank you very much, Swami Mahansa, for that wonderful sermon. And now we move on to the next segment, which is the Q&A and the reports. And I'd like to invite Lushani to conduct the session. Lushani? Oh, should be able to unmute now. Really sorry about it.
That's okay, Thank you, Thanindu, and thank you, Bhante, for that insightful talk. Before I share the reports, Thanindu, are you going to share the screen for any new participants?
Yeah, give me a minute.
if so, as Bhante said, I think doing the practice is what is very important, and it's good to establish a daily mindfulness practice. So at whatever time that suits you, start with at least like 10 or 15 minutes, and then you can increase it to up to 1 hour, both for mindfulness sitting and mindfulness walking practice. If you want some guidance, the Tarindu has shared now the links in YouTube for both mindful walking and sitting. It's good if you can do at least like 1 hour each day. But sometimes I always tell people it's better to do even a little to start with than never not do it because you feel you don't have time. And as Bhante said, it's so important to start this practice as soon as possible because it's the practice that can sort of, one day when you're quite old and hopefully it then comes naturally, like we write with whatever the dominant hand, it becomes a natural process with the practice. And then you can write a reflection report and submit it to us through a Google form or email it to beginnersnv@gmail.com, and then we read it like I'm going to read next. And you can get then guidance from Bhante after the report is read on what else you need to do and how to continue. So that guidance is given. It's such a great opportunity to have the opportunity to sort of share your experiences and get that guidance from Bhante. So I think Tarindu will share all the links. And with that, I will read. There are 2 reports today, Bhante. And I will read the first report now. So this is from an adult, Therwan Saranai Bhante. Things look fine until a past incident came to the surface. I had to reveal to my family that the marriage is broken and the partner has moved on with another person. No family support, even I am isolated. 4 years, I kept it hidden, and after revealing it, felt like hitting a healing wound. 6 years of high studies and qualifications became nothing and were not useful further, as I was not able to bear the stress of that well-paid job field after going through the breakup. My identity was shattered, and my dedication and labor in his life were not significant to him. According to him, I had done nothing. He doesn't accept that he has cheated or done any wrong. He has no guilt in moving with other partners. It was like being born again while going through all the loss with pain. Anyhow, he still helps me financially, even though we are apart. But I keep trying to earn on my own, as it is not good to depend on him. Even though he gives money, I have to listen for that, as my progress is slow. But I'm kind to myself as I went through losses. I used to receive the indirect message from him as "you are not enough." I used to make other one's beliefs mine, and there it made starting point to break the confidence. Whatever happened made the space for me to learn how to be okay with my own company. If not all incidents isolated me to practice self-love. It helped to see things differently, seeing my past wounds and how it matters when those are not healed. It made me clear how people are stuck with suffering due to these wounds when unhealed. One who tries to control others gets an empathetic one who seeks to approval and validations. But to be such one, the other one also has reasons to attract such one. Anyhow, I still have to communicate with the partner, and it shows that there are still some things that keep fading related to some of the weak beliefs. So it keeps observing them as they are. It shows that the amount I accepted, that much relief I got, and I was able to distance myself from him physically and mentally. Still, some parts remain to be accepted as he is. There is a dislike for him. It shows that it is there to mirror the beliefs I carry as not good to have several affairs by one. The lesson is clear. Accept him fully, and then only you can detach fully. So it observes the dislike as it is. In this situation, nature is clever enough to put the lesson into practice while making space to be dependent on him. On this journey, the practice and the guidance help a lot while going through ups and downs. Thank you, Bante. End of the report.
Yes, so thanks for sharing your personal information or the experience and how that very experience led you towards the practice. These are the experiences, these are the real eye-opening experiences. Otherwise, we are usually ignorant towards the reality of life. And that reality doesn't appear all the time. That's why many people feel that life is pleasurable in a way. You can live in your ignorance for many years, and once in a blue moon, once in a while, the harsh reality of life appears. It's like, eye-opening experiences. I have met many such people in the process, and some people, their harsh eye-opening experience was simply death of a child, right? You can imagine how painful that would be for a parent. One time, there were like a family, they came to do some offering, and two little ones were there. And those two actually did the offering. The parents encouraged them to do the offering, right? So I accepted and I asked, what's the purpose? Then the father came closer and said, Bante, I had, two more older children and they died due to certain causes. Someone was a sickness, someone was an accident, something like that, right? And these two are born after that, and we are worried that the same destiny might come to these children as well. So the offering is done for good health and protection, right? So you can see the state of mind for a parent like that. Two all the children died at the same age, probably, they were born before and they died. Now these two children are there, and they are coming with those two living children in order to do the offering and expect health protection. So you can see the reality of life. Some people, they come because their only son is addicted to crystal meth, doesn't listen to anyone, stealing from home, getting arrested, and that's their reality, right? So you can see the reality of life. It doesn't appear all the time. Once in a blue moon, once in a while, these eye-opening experiences are there. Most of the time, we are ignorant towards the reality of life. You are not assured anything in this life. You can develop many things. You can have your education. You can develop your careers. All things are good. Those things gives you some protection. But a certain experience at a certain milestone will change everything, will turn everything upside down, and nothing matters anymore. Your education, job, hard-earned education, hard-earned job, it doesn't matter anymore. Right? Many years of a relationship goes to zero within few days. Right? So these are the reality, experiencing the reality of life. In a way, all of us, we are sleeping. We are sleeping. The sleep of ignorance. That's where we are. And in order to wake up, we have to get burned. We have to get burned severely. Then only we will wake up screaming. If we get burned too much, then probably no recovery. But if you get burned severely, but somehow still survive, then your path opens. That's the real motivation. That's going to be the real motivation. Many people here, even in this audience, they say they don't have real motivation. How to give them motivation? You have to ask for a eye-opening experience. You have to get burned severely. That's the motivation that will come. Right? So that's how the practice works. Right? So consider this very experience is the opening of your path. This is how the path opens. If you get real motivation towards the practice, and this is the motivation. If you have very little motivation, that means you haven't burned enough. Right? So use this opportunity, use this window to guide yourself into a calmer state of mind. It won't be easy, I bet you. All these thoughts, memories, incidents, they keep bothering you repetitively. But this is the way. It's going to be really painful, the process. But if you walk that path, then you will arrive to a state where you don't need any other outside thing, outside person in order to experience your self-worth. Most of us, we are dependent on the outside people. Your partner becomes your whole world. And as long as the partner is there, you feel your self-worth. Your children becomes your whole world. As long as they are there, you feel your self-worth. Your business, your education, your profession becomes your whole world. As long as it is intact, you feel your self-worth. But that means you are dependent on the outside world. And that world can collapse at any moment. That's what you have experienced, right? So the whole idea is simply develop your practice and develop the self-worth from within. Become your own savior. Don't expect someone else to come and save you, right? So that's the very idea. That's the very practice, and you are off to a great start. That's how we can see this. And it's going to be a long, painstaking journey. But if you go through that journey, if you walk that journey, then you will come much more peaceful at the end of the tunnel. That's the very idea. So take your time with this. Move slowly, patiently. Gradually, you can become independent. You can distance yourself from all these things. You can even become financially independent. All these things come, they will follow. But first, you have to prioritize the practice. So do many hours of working, do many hours of sitting. When you have experienced this level of emotional pain, the physical pain becomes nothing. Such people can sit in meditation for many hours because they have experienced the emotional pain. The physical pain compares nothing like emotional pain, right? So you don't feel the need to give up your practice when you have experienced such emotional levels of pain, right? Suffering, we say, emotional pain. So continue, do your practice for many walking hours, many sitting hours. The physical pain will be there, physical discomfort will be there, but that's nothing compared to what you have experienced, right? So that's going to be the practice. It's going to be much harder for you to come to the primary object. All the thoughts, memories, feel like, crying, feel like, breaking down, all those things will come. And simply that is your healing process. Simply go through all these memories, go through all these thoughts, go through all the emotional pain. And if you continue long enough, you can really see the light at the end of the tunnel. This would be your opening for the path. We wish you good luck and feel free to share your progress.
Thank you, Bhante. We'll read the next report. It's again from an adult. Venerable Swami Mahansa, mindful walking, time 7:40 a.m., place on carpeted floor, primary object, sensation under feet. Firstly, I walked freely 6 times, then I stood at the edge and observed posture as a statue. Next, I started to walk, labeling feet as left and right. Felt roughness of the floor, it was hard and rather hot. Attention was grabbed by a noise, again noticed roughness. Thoughts streamed when I realized that few minutes have already passed, but I didn't regret. Started again. Could observe 9 footsteps in a length. Mindful sitting, time 8:40 a.m. Place on a cushion in easy pose. Primary object, abdominal motions. Sat and observed posture as a pyramid. Listened to sounds. Gradually, attention was grabbed by belly movements. Could identify risings and fallings separately. They became vague. Could observe 6 motions in a length. Thoughts appeared and disappeared. Very interestingly, I could catch my mind in another place, and when I was aware of that, mind jumped to the primary object. Teruvan Saranai, Utum Swamin Wahanse, end of the report.
Yes, so simply catching the mind in act. That's the secret. When you catch your mind in act, when you catch your mind in some other place, when you catch your mind in thought processes, that very awareness, that very action is the very practice. You don't have to bring it back. It will come automatically because you are aware that your mind is in a wrong place. You are aware that your mind is thinking thoughts. That's the way, right? So it's good that you catch your mind in act, right? And in medical science, they say some of the diseases, you can't simply sample your blood and figure it out. You have to sample the blood or the urine during an attack. You have to catch it red-handed. That's how they say it. Then only you will be able to figure out the disease, right? So same goes for our mind. You have to catch it red-handed. You have to catch it in the act. And if you do that, you don't have to do anything else. You simply know that your mind is in a different place. You simply know that your mind is thinking thoughts. You simply know that your mind is in a past incident. That very knowing will protect you. That's what you have experienced. So keep doing it, not only in the walking sitting, but even in your daily life. This would be a great hobby.
Thank you, Bhante. I think that's the end of the report. So anyone has a question, we have a few minutes. You can raise your Zoom hand and ask your question. It doesn't appear to be, I don't think anyone has any questions today, Bhante. So with that, I will hand it back over to Tarindu. Thank you, Bhante, for your guidance as always. 9 minutes to you for good health and practice the Dhamma. Back to you, Tarindu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, for your guidance as always, and thank you, Lushani, for conducting the session. And thank you, everyone who shared their reports and experiences with us today. So with that, we have come to the end of today's session. I think we had an interesting one, and it's time to say goodbye for the day. So on behalf of the organizers, I would like to thank Venerable Dhammakusala Thero for continued guidance on this program. Swaminathan is really busy on Saturdays, but we appreciate taking the time to do this session. And we cannot forget the Chief Abbot of Nisarnavanaya, who initiated this program, Venerable Bhante Udayagama Dhammajiva Mahathero. May these merits help them in improving their own practice as well. Thank you to all the organizers who are maintaining and managing this program. Next, thank you and much merits to everyone who participated today via Zoom, and those who have joined on YouTube, and those who are watching this later. So see you all next week. Until then, I would like to wish you a mindful week ahead. Thank you very much.